evening, everyone. Welcome to your restorative journey. We're going to start our practice today in a reclined butterfly position, but I want you to take the longest reclined butterfly that you have ever taken in your life. And what we want to find here is that the heels come together, but the toes will probably come apart. And depending on how tight you are in the glutes or the external hips, you may decide that it would feel really nice to elevate those heels in order to get a little bit more weight into the knees as you recline all the way back. And the idea here with your reclined butterfly pose is that often when the heels are pulled close to the body, we get a little bit more sensation from the groin. When they're farther away, we tend to get into the external glutes as well as the IT band, sciatic nerve area. So just finding that place where you can really start to feel the external parts of the hips and legs as you settle into this pose. And as you begin to recline onto your back, just taking a few really deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, starting to really soften any parts of the body that we might have been clenching or holding tension in throughout the day, the weekend. Relaxing any tension that we might be holding around the heart. And this is really, the practice for being present, for allowing whatever it is that is present in your emotional landscape to just be as it is without trying to force it or fix it or change it. So just starting to really touch base with yourself. How do I feel today? What is my energy like? What does the tension in my body feel like? Could I soften more? Could I surrender a little more? Could I be more present in this moment? And to offer us a little bit of wisdom and guidance, I'm going to pull from the Goddess Oracle deck. This is a beautiful one. Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene is the goddess that really symbolizes unconditional love. She is a radical goddess of love, and her message to us is to love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearance may be. Wow, that's so relevant for right now. Love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearances might be. Mary Magdalene, I am not what most people think. Yet, to defend myself would be to sink to a lower level than I feel comfortable with. I am one with the divine, just as you are, and it is here that I choose to reside. The lower levels of human bickering, judgment, and chaos are just that, lower levels. I choose to do my work from the level of higher consciousness, where love reigns supreme. It is here where the most good can be done, and I urge you to do the same. Where you dwell in consciousness is where you truly dwell. So focus your thoughts on the good things that you can find in people and rise above all appearances otherwise. This is a beautiful card for the times that we are facing right now when there is a lot of judgment that is swirling around. A lot of chaos, even the word that she used. Can we choose to dwell in a higher level of consciousness where love reigns supreme? Just allowing that message to settle somewhere in your being. Perhaps looking within yourself for places that you have allowed a lower vibration or a lower level of consciousness to be kind of your anchor. And as you sit with that message, just start to sense and feel into the glutes, the outer edges of the hip, just noticing what sensations are taking place in the body. And really checking in with your emotional landscape. What sensations are taking place emotionally? What level of energy have we got this evening? Allowing your breath to really start to deepen. The inhales becoming deep and wide, expanding the ribs, the lungs, the heart lifts. Full body breathing. And as you breathe in this way, just begin to envision in your mind's eye that you could kind of unclip your attention from all of these different places where we might be focusing in order to release yourself of the weight of all of this external stuff that's going on. Kind of as if we could cut the tethers that bind us. That way we are here in this moment without feeling as though our being and our attention is being pulled in all of these different directions. And this is an important practice that you can do anytime at all. When you feel that you're being tugged in different directions, sit, find your breath, and unhook yourself from all of these things that you feel are pulling you apart so that you can be here in this moment and respond to the needs of the moment. Now, we tend to store a lot of tension in our hips. We tend to spend, especially this last year, year and a half, a lot of time sitting. Some of us excessive standing. And I really want you to pay attention to the sensations that arise as we move through this journey of kind of lengthening the external glutes and hips. These big, giant muscles that support our pelvis. And very, very slowly, we're going to begin to help the knees together. If you've been using a block under the heels, place that off to the side and pull the knees in for a nice big hug. And we'll release the left leg down towards the ground as we pull the right leg in nice and close. Keeping that right leg as close as we can, we'll take the right shin into the left hand out to the side. Sole of the right foot might come to the top of the left thigh. And then just begin to guide that left knee over to, or the right knee rather, over to the left. And you might even place the inner knee on a bolster if you have one. And just start to breathe in and out through the nose. We don't even have to move into the deepest twist available to start to feel that lengthening sensation. Relax your jaw and maybe send your gaze over the right shoulder. And just start to check in with the sensations that you're feeling here. What is being offered to you in this moment? And the physical body is such a beautiful way to practice presence. Because for some reason, when we get closer to people and circumstance, things get a little bit more complicated. But when we are practicing addressing the needs of the present moment in the physical body, that can change the way that we show up to the things that happen in our lives. And so sometimes when we're assessing the moment, for this moment as an example, what is required here? Perhaps it's required that we Maybe stick a bolster or a block underneath that right knee. But perhaps what is even more needed in this moment is for us to just breathe deeply and surrender the expectations that we might have for the body so that we can just soften into this moment, knowing that if we resist the very stretch that we are attempting, it will persist. That sensation of tightness will continue to persist. And so can we surrender and soften into the discomfort of the present moment, knowing that what this discomfort has to offer us is a more spacious, more comfortable body in the future. And it's so different when we are rationalizing in the present moment for a physical sensation, because we know that it's apparent, there is value, there is something being offered. But sometimes we fail to see the opportunity at hand when it gets to be a matter of a personal matter, I suppose, or something that's happening in our lives. Even COVID as an example. There is a tremendous amount of opportunity within this whole global scenario, but it's been very difficult for many of us to see the opportunity for what it is and to surrender and soften into it. And so can we do that with our bodies at least, and teach our minds how to be? Relaxing your jaw, your shoulders, and just allowing your breath to be full and steady, uninterrupted as it moves in and out. There's nothing you need to achieve. You're just being with the body, being present. See, there's such a difference between being in these poses and allowing your mind to wander here, there, and everywhere. We're not really here. We're not really experiencing the moment. The body is going through the motions, but the mind is not present. And so again, maybe visualizing, unhooking ourselves from all of these distractions, these things that maybe are important that we're thinking about, but do not serve the present moment. And instead be here now. Because your ability to be present in any moment is actually what helps to enhance your ability to respond if a response is needed in any given moment. Settle into the deepest breaths that you can manage, slowing down the exhales as you release them through the nose. Noticing if you can tell where else this posture is hitting the body. Is it isolated, or is it bringing sensation into multiple places? And if so, just gently acknowledging with your mind's eye where you are feeling a sensation and what the sensation is. Pinching, pulling, burning, tingling, radiating heat. Starting to notice. Feeling the ribs expand and contract, and just settling the weight of the body down into the mat, into the support of the ground beneath your feet that we take for granted, the safety and security of the four walls that we're in. How beautiful it is to be able to move these able bodies. Now very, very slowly, as you're ready, begin to release that right leg, stretching it all the way down towards the mat. Just taking a moment here. See if you can feel a difference from one leg to the other. Sometimes it's a strange sensation that maybe the right leg is a little longer than the left. And when you're ready, let's begin to pull the left knee in towards the belly for a big hug. Pull it nice and close as you can get it, and then take the left shin into the right hand, left arm out to the side, and begin to gently cross right knee, or left knee rather, to the right. Now again, you can take the sole of your foot on top of your right thigh. And you don't even have to come into the fullest expression of this twist to start to feel that lengthening sensation for the left glute. Now, if you are twisted all the way, you might take a block or bolster under the inside of the left knee. But otherwise, let's lick our lips and swallow. Relax the jaw, the face, and maybe gaze over the left shoulder as we settle into the discomfort of this lengthening sensation for the glute. Noticing what we're feeling. Just acknowledging and allowing what is transpiring without having to respond. There's nothing to do. Unless, of course, you find that you're in pain, in which case we modify. Breathing in and out through the nose. Inhales are deep and wide, and exhales are slow and steady. Feel the belly rise and fall, and just surrender the weight of the body down into the support of the mat. Seeing if we can tap into this idea from Mary Magdalene of unconditional love. Can we send this to our bodies exactly as they are? We send this to the situation that is our life currently, exactly as it is. Enjoying just a few more breaths as you settle into this shape. Breath rising and falling. Last big breath in. And as we exhale, slowly, slowly release. Let's extend that left leg long and just check in with both legs here. When you're ready, let's bend into the knees and place the soles of the feet flat down onto the mat. Lift the hips and tuck the tail so that the low back is flat. And then lift your left leg, bend into the knee, flex the ankle, and place the right ankle just above the left knee. And you have a few options here to make this restorative. We want to actively just be gently pressing that right knee away from the torso. It might help for you to walk the left heel closer to the body. It might help to lift the left heel to find a little bit more sensation. And if it feels okay and wouldn't be too much effort, we might even pull the left leg closer to the body, interlacing the hands just behind the left thigh or over top of the left shins. And as we pull that leg closer, we continue to flex through the right ankle, pressing right knee away from the body. And just hold here. If it might feel nice, you could rock left to right, really looking for that bittersweet spot where we start to feel an extreme sensation. And And that's where we want to linger with our breath, deepening the inhales, lengthening the exhales. Noticing and embracing and surrendering all that we are feeling in the body here. Deepening the breath in and lengthening the breath out. There's nothing to do. No reason to move or shift or fix unless, of course, we find that we're in pain. And we never linger in pain, only in our discomfort. Listening to the body. And learning the difference between the body and mind. Sometimes the mind will convince us that we should back off a little bit. Whereas the body could sustain a little longer and needs to. But the mind is really, really in this place where it avoids discomfort at all costs. It's kind of how we've been conditioned. And so can we override that conditioning by allowing ourselves to be uncomfortable? And it's a beautiful natural instinct as well, because this is what keeps us safe and protected, that we don't head into danger. But right now the body is supported and we are totally safe. And so this little bit of discomfort is actually a gift, an offering to bring more space into the body. Deepening your breath on the exhale. Now we're going to release that left leg and bring the left foot down towards the mat. Take your arms wide and start to your left side. You might place a bolster underneath the outside of the left knee just to hold this position, or you might bring the outer edge of the left leg and maybe the right heel all the way to the mat on the other side. Wherever you find yourself, I want you to continue pressing that right knee away from the body, finding your breath. In and out through the nose. So it's really the same shape as we started with. Noticing what exactly you're feeling and experiencing in your body. And always feeling free to bring your hands to the places that feel tense and offer a loving touch, a gentle self-massage, just to encourage extra blood flow, extra release. Maybe start to get to know some of these places in the body that might feel really tense and tight. Loving touch is such a beautiful practice and a beautiful gift that we can give ourselves. It's always better when somebody else gives us their loving touch, but it's something that we can most certainly offer ourselves. Very, very slowly, whenever you're ready, begin to return your legs back upright. Uncross that right leg. And place the sole of the foot down on the mat, lifting the hips and setting them back down again. Let's let the left leg flex through the left ankle and place that heel just above the right knee. And again, depending on how the body is feeling, this could very well be enough. We could stay just like this, perhaps getting a little more if we walked the heel a little closer to the hips, or maybe lift the heel altogether, bringing the right leg closer to the body. We want to keep a firm flex into the left ankle in order to support the left knee as we gently just use our own musculature to press that left knee away from the body. And if it makes sense, begin to pull the right knee in towards the body, maybe interlacing the hands behind the right thigh or over top of the right knee. So you've got options. And wherever you find yourself, you might even just take your right knee left to right, just looking for that bittersweet spot where there's a lot more sensation, and then staying there, lingering there, and offering a few breaths. Deep, deep, deep breaths. Start to invite a little bit more circulation and range of motion into the areas that feel tight and stiff. And again, a lot of what we are experiencing as sensation here is a number of different things at play. There are repetitive body movements and habits of sitting and standing, and the way that we transition from sitting to standing. There's also a lot of tension and stress that we hold muscularly in the hips and shoulders. And so the hips can be a place where we hold tension without even really being aware of it. And this can be emotional tension, this can be trauma, this can be any type of stress or anxiety that accumulates in the hips. We tighten up, we get rigid everywhere when we are experiencing stress or trauma or heightened emotion. And it's believed what we do not express, we suppress. And so asking yourself, can I release? Can I surrender just a little bit more? Is it safe for me to do so? And what would that feel like? Allowing your breath to continue to grow deeper into the body. Deepening the inhales and lengthening the exhales. And very, very slowly releasing your grip if you've got a hold of that right leg, taking arms out to the side and beginning to drop your legs exactly as they are over to the right side. And we want to keep this shape. So we might again place a block or bolster underneath the outside of the right knee. We might bring the right leg and left heel towards the mat. Perhaps we begin to gaze over the left shoulder. Just noticing what exactly we're feeling as we rest here. Connecting with that breath and reeling the busy thinking mind into this quiet, still moment. Noticing how obnoxious the mind can become, so busy, so full of incessant thoughts. And instead, in our practice, let's shut those thoughts down as they arise and focus upon that which we have intended, the sensations of the body and the breath, the absolute simplicity of the present moment. This moment needs no response, no reaction. Unlike many moments, this moment is quiet and peaceful. But don't miss it by allowing the mind to wander. Very, very slowly, as you're ready, beginning to return the legs upright, and let's pull both knees into the belly for a nice big hug. rocking from side to side. And then when you're ready, and in whatever fashion suits your body today, we're going to meet in seated. So you might roll off to one side and help the body up to seated with two hands, or you might begin to rock and roll along the spine until you come upright into seated. And from here, we'll remove the extra flesh from underneath the sit-bone so that we can really get grounded down. You might want to use a folded blanket to place your weight upon. We're going to begin by using the right leg as the base leg. So we'll bend into the left knee and walk the left foot to the outside of the right leg. And then as much as we can from here, we might not be able to go much further. So be mindful with your body. If it were possible to take this left heel and start to walk it towards the outside of the right thigh or hip line, allowing the left knee to rest on top of the right. That's perfect. And then let's lift and lengthen the spine nice and tall, nice and long. You might have a bolster or a block handy. We can use this to support the forehead as we fold, or we can just hang the head, neck, and shoulders very heavy. From here, lift and lengthen the spine on the inhale, and as you exhale, begin to walk the hands forward any amount. That might even just be reaching fingertips forwards and dropping head towards the chest. If there's space, we can start to really begin to fold over top of our legs. And again, the block can be there. We can place it on the top knee, bringing the forehead to the block. We can place it on the bottom shin, bringing the forehead to the block, or we can ditch the block altogether, finding as much comfort within discomfort as is possible. And then notice what it is that you're feeling and where, and can you surrender a little bit more? Notice the ways that we cheat ourselves out of the experience by backing off. And let's just make sure that if we are backing off, it is to protect. We never want to experience pain in our practice. So if we are backing off, it should be to preserve the discomfort so that it does not cross the threshold into pain. But most of the time we back off because we just don't like being uncomfortable. And so can we surrender instead? And only you know what you are able to tolerate. So it's so difficult for someone to look at you and be able to tell that you're cheating yourself. This is a private, personal experience. Allow your breath to grow. And notice where the sensations radiate. So sometimes we start to feel from the external glute or hip area, the sensation travels up the low back. There's so many different sensations that could be available. It could be IT band and sciatic nerve. It could be underneath the backs of the right thigh. Just noticing what you're feeling. You could be feeling different sensations for both hips and legs. And the reason that we want to notice is because as we make more space in the body, we can begin to tell because we know how these shapes feel. And as the poses bring different sensations, we are able to mark progress. We're able to mark tension. Continue breathing deeply, continue heavying the body. Upper body heavy, 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 weighing down over the lower body. Notice what it feels like to breathe deeply, and notice if you have stopped breathing deeply. And if so, continue to deepen the breath in and lengthen the breath out.
Relaxing the jaw, the face, the head, neck, and shoulders.
And resting heavily here for the next few breaths. Very, very slowly. With your next exhale, if you are folded, start to walk the body back upright. We're going to pick up this left leg and set the sole of the foot down now, keeping the same placement, but taking left arm and wrapping it around, other way, sorry, right arm, wrapping right arm around the left leg and really focusing on pulling that leg tight and lengthening the spine. Take your left fingers just behind your hip and we're just going to twist ever so slightly. If you have any issues with your spine, instead of twisting with your spine, you might just begin to glance over the left shoulder. If we've got the range of motion, we might even be able to twist, driving that left shoulder back as we pull the left leg close. We'll just take a few breaths in the twist here. Deepening the inhales and lengthening the exhales. Holding that left leg nice and close. And then as you're ready, exhaling to look forward, let's release that left leg long and switch sides. Bending into the right knee and stepping the right foot to the outside of the left leg. And then helping that left heel and ankle to come back towards the left hip. And so already we can start to feel sensation here in the body. We've got our block handy, maybe our bolster, if we want to use that to support the upper body. Let's inhale, lift and lengthen the spine. And as we exhale, begin to walk the hands forward ever so slightly, maybe folding any amount over those legs. And again, we can use the block on top of the knee to rest the forehead, on top of the left shin, or just hang the head, neck, and shoulders heavy. Breathing deeply here. And surrendering the weight of the upper body over the lower body. Deepening the inhales and lengthening the exhales. Nothing to accomplish here except for presence. Can you stay present to the myriad of sensations that you are experiencing right now? Without trying to fix them or fade them into the background. Just allowing ourselves to be present to discomfort. And this is such a huge concept. Because the more that we can allow discomfort to come into our experience within our physical body, working with physical discomfort is a beautiful way to train the mind to work differently with emotional or circumstantial discomfort. And so the discomfort that we face on our yoga mats is a great practice for the discomfort that we face in the real world. Can we be non-reactive?
Can we, instead of feeling that urge to react based on emotions and preferences, can we ground down into the moment, breathe deeply, and really experience what is taking place right now? And is action required, or is internal adjusting required, so that we might make a little bit more space and find a little bit more tolerance for what it is that we are being asked to endure? In this case, can we surrender, relaxing the shoulders, licking the lips and swallowing? Perhaps this translates off the mat and into our lives as we reconcile the way that COVID has changed our whole living. Perhaps releasing the ideals and attachments that we had for our summer, so that we can surrender to the discomfort of the reality of the present moment. And really, it's a choice. It doesn't mean that we have to like what we are experiencing, but it does mean that we can have a say on how we experience what we are experiencing. Whether we choose to make it heaven or hell is of our own making. And so what are we choosing in every single moment? And can we choose in accordance with the highest possible vibrations of love, and acceptance, non-judgment? Last few breaths as you surrender the weight of the body. Deepening the inhales and lengthening the exhales. Then very slowly walking the hands up. And we'll just pick up that right leg, taking the knee to the sky, wrapping left arm around right leg so you can really hold it nice and close. Right hand comes behind the body. And again, if there's any issues at all with the spine, then we don't need to twist with the spine. We can just look over the right shoulder. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. And exhale, begin to look over the right shoulder. And if it makes sense for the body, we might even drive the right shoulder back, coming into more of a twist. We find our breath here. In and out through the nose. Deepening the inhale. Lengthening the exhale. Very, very slowly starting to release. We're going to move into pigeon pose. And so from here, you've got some options. Legs are straight. We can begin to bring the right knee behind us. Then bend into the left knee, pulling heel towards the pelvis. Now you might begin to take your right knee back into a little bit of a bend, or perhaps straighten that leg back. And if the left hip wants to lift away, this is a great time to put a blanket, a block, or a bolster underneath the left sit bone. And then we'll start to walk the hands forward, settling into our pigeon pose, maybe resting the forehead on the backs of the hands, or a block, or stacked fists. Just breathing into this release. Allowing the breath to be full and expansive. And settling into the sensation. Now, if pigeon pose is comfortable for you, I invite you to make it a little bit more uncomfortable by walking your right arm over to the left side for a little bit of a twist.
Deepening your breath in and lengthening your breath out. Allowing the hips to settle, getting heavier and heavier. Noticing what it feels like to be here in this moment, and noticing maybe if there's any physical or ways that we need to make possible. Then really surrender, settle the weight of the body down. Especially if you have a block or a bolster underneath the hips, really surrender, settle into that lifted hip. Pigeon pose is such a beautiful metaphor for everything that could ever be uncomfortable in our lives. And we just surrender into it instead of resisting it. Just a few more breaths here on this left side. And taking your time, if you're in a twisted position, starting to unwind from your twist. Taking hands under shoulders and helping the body back upright, really leaning onto that left hip so that we can extend the legs forward. And then we'll begin to pull the right heel nice and close to the pelvis as we take our body weight onto that right arm and start to extend that left knee back. And again, we can keep the knee bent as we move into this variation, or we can begin to straighten that left leg back, taking a folded blanket, a block, or a bolster underneath the right sit bone in order to make sure that the right sit bone stays grounded and connected with the earth. And then beginning to walk the hands forward any amount so that we can settle down into this pigeon pose on the right side. Making adjustments that need to be made in order to ensure that you're safe and protected, that you don't have any pain. It's really just discomfort that we're looking to lean into. Deepening your breath in and lengthening your breath out. And allowing the body to become heavier and heavier. And again, if you find that there is comfort in pigeon pose, I invite you to make it more uncomfortable by walking your left hand over to the right side. And then relaxing into this twisted pigeon. And that's only if you feel comfortable. If breathing is challenging in pigeon pose, you don't need any more discomfort. Feel the breath as it expands into these areas that feel so tight and stuck and stagnant. And fill them with the life force of your breath, that prana, as it comes in through the nose, filling up all of the tight spaces of the body. And again, maybe even offering a little bit of a nice loving touch, massaging gently through some of the areas that might feel tight. It's a beautiful gift at any variation throughout our practice as we change from pose to pose, offering yourself a little bit of a gentle massage. And really starting to understand what exactly you're feeling. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just allowing the discomfort and surrendering. Just a few more breaths. And very slowly, if you are twisted, unwinding. Taking hands underneath shoulders and starting to help the body all the way back upright, pulling that left leg forward. And we'll extend the legs long here. Coming all the way down back onto our backs. Now, if you are close to the wall and you'd like legs up the wall, please feel free. Otherwise, we might just extend the legs towards the sky. And if you have a bolster and you'd like to place it under the hips, that can be a great addition, so long as there's no issues with the spine. Extending those legs up towards the sky and just allowing some of the blood flow to return to the hips, to the heart. Maybe even rotating through the ankles, wiggling through the toes. Relaxing any tension in the jaw, the face, the throat. We'll transition from here into the most comfortable Shavasana, but please feel free to take your time, maybe taking another 30 seconds or so with legs inverted. There's no rush. If you'd like to stay legs up the wall for Shavasana, you can. I would just encourage you that if there is any pain from blood being drained, that you just bend into the knees and lower the legs down if that happens. Otherwise, take your time to begin to make your way into the most comfortable Shavasana. We're going to close our practice with a yoga nidra to stimulate the overflowing of the heart. So take time to get comfortable, covering yourself with a blanket if you like. Just doing anything that you need to do to get as comfortable as possible. Relaxing the legs, the arms, the shoulders away from the ears. Checking for any lumps or bumps of clothing, jewelry, or anything else that might distract you from relaxation. Scanning your whole body to make sure you are as comfortable as you need to be. And start to settle into stillness. Receiving these words effortlessly. Effortless awareness. No need for concentration or thinking. Let the mind rest. And instead, be aware of your heart. Now is the time to set what we call a sankalpa, a heartfelt resolve. If you already have a sankalpa, allow the joyful feeling of it to arise now. If you don't, Simply allow an I am statement that will fill you with joy. For example, I am calm, I am healthy, or I am free. Whatever stirs your heart. No need for thinking, just feeling. Finding your I am statement. Really feel this statement. Embody it as vividly as you can. If the feeling is there, it cannot help but to become manifest. Now state your Sankalpa 3 times with clarity and feeling. Notice your chest filling with each breath. It's filling with oxygen to vitalize all of your body. Energetically, you are pulling in vital life force known as prana. This is the key to your vitality. With each deep breath in, your body receives more of this life force energy. With each deep breath in, your body is fed with this energy. Take a deep breath in and hold until your body naturally wants to let go. And then exhale. No need to force. Find an easy, relaxed rhythm that feels just right. Inhale, filling with oxygen and energy. Holding as the energy is received and dispersed. And exhaling a silent sigh of relief. Continue breathing in this way. Deep but relaxed. Soft holding. A long, effortless exhale. Inhaling energy. Retaining gently. And letting go of any effort as you exhale. Once more. Inhale. Softly hold. Effortless exhale. Now bring your awareness back to your heart center. Picture at your heart center a beautiful glowing light in your favorite color. There is love in this light. For a moment, you see a vision of unconditional love in the light. A person, a pet, a beautiful place, a divine image that strikes the chord of unconditional love in your heart. Imagine this unconditional love at the center of your heart being illuminated by this glowing light. Hold the awareness of it. Allow it to fill your heart center with the feeling of unconditional love. As this feeling grows, the light glows brighter and pulsing. And now, allow the image to dissolve, but hold the feeling of it. Hold the feeling of love. Feel that the loving light can no longer be contained to the heart center. Feel the loving light begin to expand out. As it expands, the light is pulsing and radiating. Feel it expand and flow out beyond your heart center, overflowing, flowing throughout your whole body, radiating out, spilling over, and creating a field of loving light all around you. You are surrounded by loving light. While you are settled here in this deep, peaceful state of love, remember that this is your birthright. Bring to mind once again your sankalpa, your I am statement, your heart's desire. And repeat it 3 times. Now begin to become aware of your breath, deepening your breath in and sighing the breath out. Inviting some small movements into fingers and toes. And placing one hand on the heart, the other hand over top, as we close our practice this evening by offering 3 shantis, the Sanskrit word for peace. The first is an offering to self, second is an offering to those in our lives, and the third is an offering to the world at large. Breathe in with me. And exhale, sigh. And breathe in to prepare. Repeating aloud if you like, or in your mind's eye. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, for carving this time out to really nourish yourself in this way with this practice. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the week and that you sleep well tonight. We'll see you next time.